The Lane Train himself winds up quote tweeting that and says, "Is this fake news?" He didn't actually really say that, and added Alabama and added SMU. Let's move along here to the Alabama football team itself, and I got some bad, and I mean bad news. I want to emphasize this to Bama fans. These aren't chumps that are leaving. These are good, and I mean good football players. You're probably wondering, Matt, what are you doing in front of the camera? And that's a good question. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I need you to subscribe because we're trying to hit 350,000 subscribers before Christmas. Let's get back into the video. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, hope you're having a great Monday. Hope you're having a great start to your week. If not, hope this video can make it a little bit better. Man, oh man, if you thought things weren't already bad enough for Alabama with missing the playoff, they've somehow, someway gotten worse. To all the Alabama haters, and we know there's a lot of them, you're going to enjoy this video. To the Alabama fan base, not so much. It's just not a good time to be an Alabama football fan. I'll put it to you like that. It's been a very rough past 24 to 48 hours. We're going to talk all about that. Also, your boy Lane Kiffin, the Lane Train, he has called out the committee again. There's a lot we got to get into. College football is going crazy right now. Strap in, buckle up, get you a snack, get you popcorn, get your favorite meal you like to eat when you watch a video. Because trust me, I do the same thing. But I am at blah blah blah. Cap up now. Not further ado. Let's get into it. All right, first things first. Let's start with this because I just found out this information this morning, and I'll explain why I just found that out in just a second. Alabama is playing Michigan in the ReliaQuest Bowl. Here's my first question. What is the ReliaQuest Bowl? When I first saw that, I genuinely thought it was a troll tweet or troll account or something. I was like, oh, it's somebody, joking at me because the past 24 hours, everybody and mom's been saying, Matt, hope you enjoy the Pop-Tart Bowl, buddy. Hope you enjoy the Tony the Tiger Bowl, stuff like that. And as I'm scrolling through the tweets, I see someone say, Matt, enjoy the ReliaQuest Bowl. I'm like, all right, yeah, well, whatever. I don't even know what that is. But no, apparently that's not a joke. We are in the ReliaQuest Bowl. And I'm probably not even pronouncing that right, but let me explain to you why I just found that out. Because I know it's some of you sitting here saying, well, Matt, that information came out yesterday after the playoffs. Or not after the playoffs, after the playoff bracket was released. Long story short, after I filmed the live reaction video, uploaded it for you guys to watch, I didn't look at social media, I didn't look at anything college football related. I just stared at the wall for like 6 or 7 hours and then I went to bed. To go along with that, I have no idea what any other bowl games are, who's playing in them, nothing like that. I'll check later tonight. Just haven't really cared to look because, well, if you know, you know. Not exactly thrilled that Alabama got left out of the playoffs, even though, and I've made this clear, we didn't deserve to be in. With that being said, I'll also say this and we're going to move on. Alabama does not care about meaningless bowl games. And Bama's in an awful position because it's a double-edged sword. Although I personally wouldn't care too much if Alabama lost a meaningless bowl game that we're not going to talk about in 20 years from now, here's why it's a double-edged sword. Because if Alabama wins, what are people going to say? Oh, well, it's Michigan. Michigan only won 6, 7 games this year. You're supposed to be Michigan. But if Alabama loses, it's like, oh my gosh, how did you lose to Michigan? I thought this was a playoff team. You see what I'm saying? Alabama, no matter what happens, they can't, quote-unquote, win. That's my early thoughts on that. Of course, we'll talk more about it as it gets closer. And I really hate the fact we're playing Michigan because I really enjoyed that fan base, so it's going to be weird to go up against them. I feel like me and Michigan fans have this odd dynamic where, of course, we respect each other, but we also have this appreciation for each other because, the whole little bro state thing, and yeah, we just get along. This is the rematch from what I labeled as the real national championship last year, with all due respect to Washington. That was a fantastic game, but there's a big difference this year. These two teams compared to last year, I'll leave it at that. Are you kidding me? That Michigan team from last year would beat the absolute snot out of this current Michigan team, and same thing for Alabama. Alabama's team last year would beat the absolute snot out of this Bama team. You got two teams in down years, and low-key, we could label this as the battle of the mid. We'll see what happens there, and although I really don't care about the game too much, I do still want to win as a competitor. I would love to talk about that game some more, but moving along here, you gotta see what old Lane Kiffin said. This was shortly after SMU got the nod over Alabama, and if you want me to talk about who should have got in, who should have done it, I'm not doing it, it's over. I just do not have the energy to go at that anymore, and it doesn't matter what I think should have happened. It's donezo's. It's over. SMU's in. With that being said, the chairman of the committee stated, and I quote, I want to make sure everybody understands that we value strength of schedule. He said that in regards of some of the backlash he thought they may receive due to putting SMU over Alabama, because Alabama has 3, not 1, not 2, but 3 top 25 wins. SMU has a big fat that donut? 0. The Lane Train himself winds up quote tweeting that and says, is this fake news? He didn't actually really say that, and added Alabama and added SMU. Say what you want about Lane Kiffin, we know this. He is the goofiest of goobers, but he's pretty entertaining. He keeps college football interesting, and more importantly, he keeps the SEC interesting. And I think why I like him so much is he tweets like we do, but he is the head coach of an SEC team. You're just not going to see other head coaches tweet out the way he does. He speaks his mind. For example, Kirby Smart was probably frustrated last year that Georgia didn't get in. By the way, I still feel like Georgia got snubbed, but different conversation for a different day. But you didn't see him go out here tweeting and doing all this. Lane Kiffin, on the other hand, I feel like as soon as a thought pops into his mind, he's like, oh yeah, I should tweet about that. And there's a lot of people that have written great responses. As when I'm looking at it, this post has over 1,000 comments. But you know what all of them say? Alabama shouldn't have lost to Vandy. They shouldn't have lost to Oklahoma. Ole Miss shouldn't have lost to, who they lose to? Florida, Kentucky, and who else? Who was that other team they lost to? Drawing a blank. Who was that? Florida, Kentucky. Oh, yeah, and LSU. South Carolina had 3 losses as well. But here's what it came down to, guys. It's really as simple as this. You just couldn't punish SMU for losing by 3 points in the conference championship while Ole Miss, Alabama, and South Carolina, all 3 of the SEC teams, were eating Cheesy Puffs on the couch. And if we're being honest, Alabama's strength of schedule is the only reason it was a close debate and argument. That was the only thing helping them. Maybe y'all feel differently, but I do believe the committee still values strength of schedule mightily. And this won't be the last time I probably say this. If I had to bet my house on it, you know I say it all the time. I've said it a million times on the channel. When it's close and I'm picking 2 teams, I go, or I don't go, but I ask myself this question. Okay, who would I bet my house on? And if I had to bet my house on SMU or Alabama, it's a no-brainer. Alabama. If I had to bet my house on SMU, Miami, no-brainer, Miami. SMU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, I could go on and on. SMU is not a very good football team. However, they won 11 out of their 12 games this year in the regular season. More than likely, SMU's going to get crushed by Penn State, but I really don't mind the committee putting them in. I share that with you to say this. Shortly after Lane Kiffin posted that, Alabama's AD, their athletic director, tweeted this out. Disappointed with the outcome and felt we were one of the 12 best teams in the country. We had an extremely challenging schedule and recognized there were 2 games in particular that we did not perform as well as we should have. We have said that we would need to see how strength of schedule would be evaluated by the CFP. With this outcome, we would need to assess how many P4 non-conference games make sense in the future to put us in the best position to participate in the CFP. That is not good for college football. What do I think about that? Let me read you off this last part. With that said, we do not need to hang our heads and now need to finish the season strong. We have a great group of young men who have led us with Coach DeBoer through the last year, and we look forward to our opportunity in the, like I said, I hope I'm saying this right, ReliaQuest Bowl, #Roll Tide. Here's what I found the most interesting in this, and I hope some of y'all noted it, and I'm going to highlight it for you right here. With this outcome, we will need to assess how many Power 4 non-conference games make sense in the future to put us in the best position to participate in the CFP. So, y'all know what that means, right? I hope you do. And he even stated that it's not good for college football. This isn't some randeezy on Twitter saying, yeah, Alabama shouldn't schedule tough non-conference games. No. This is the AD. He's calling the shots. This means moving forward, Alabama, you know how they went to Wisconsin this year? And I know what you're going to say. Well, Matt, Wisconsin wasn't that good. Number 1, they played Oregon close. And number 2, when Alabama scheduled the Wisconsin home and away series, I think it is a home and away series, that was like 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. When you schedule these games, you don't know if Wisconsin's going to be good in 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But moving forward, if Greg Byrne actually means this, they're not going to schedule games like that because there's no point to. Instead of scheduling Wisconsin, Alabama just schedule another cupcake like Chattanooga State Water Aquarium Community College. The SEC is already hard enough as it is. You don't need to make it harder in the non-conference. Very interesting stuff there. Let me know your thoughts on that. Let's move along here to the Alabama football team itself. And I got some bad, and I mean bad news. With Alabama officially missing the playoffs, this has now given a lot of these players the green light to jump ship. You don't see a lot of players up and leave when a team's in the playoff, but since they're out, it's like, all right, time to leave, and that's what these Bama players are doing. Or at least some of them, that is. Alabama's fastest is not up for debate. Their fastest wide receiver, who I feel like was heavily underutilized the entire season. Kendrick Law, he's entering the portal. I saw this one coming a mile away. I've been saying it. If I was Kendrick Law, I'd enter the portal. The only thing they've done all year for him is give him a jet sweep every other game. As to why he wasn't more involved with the passing offense, I have no idea. I would love to get some answers on that. The bottom line is, though, it doesn't matter why he wasn't involved. He wasn't involved, and he's not happy about it. I wouldn't be happy either, so he's leaving. I'm wishing him the best of luck. He worked his tail off for Alabama, and he was one of the best blocking wide receivers I've seen in a while. And that's one thing a lot of people don't pay attention to. A lot of people just look at the stats, the catches, the touchdowns, like with Ryan Williams. But Kendrick Law was a vital part of Alabama's receiving corps when it comes to blocking. I greatly appreciate everything he did for Alabama and the university and wish him the best of luck. He's going to be really good on some team. And I believe Kendrick Law has the talent to be a starter for any team he wants to, like Oregon. That may be a team to look out for. Ohio State, Michigan, any team he wants, any team he desires. Be on the lookout for him. And here is, I'd say, probably the biggest one. 5-star true freshman wide receiver, Caleb Odom, who I've been raving on the past year or so. I even did a film breakdown on his high school tape, and y'all know that's rare for me. I don't even hype up high school recruits. He's entering the portal. This one isn't very shocking because, according to some sources I've talked to, he's been I'm not going to say this, but this according to the sources, a quote-unquote cancer cell to the locker room. I'm not going to go as far as saying that, but about a month ago, some of y'all may recall, he was liking posts on Twitter about him not getting the ball. Which you can't really knock the kid for feeling that way, but you know you shouldn't go out there and like posts about that because it's going to trend all over social media, and it did, and it's going to get back to the team. Jalen Miller is going to see it, and it's just not good. You're entitled to be upset about you not getting the ball. As a wide receiver, you want to get the ball, but don't go out there and make it a bigger problem on social media. Long story short, he wasn't happy at Alabama this year. You could see that from a mile away, so he is also departing. Wishing him the best of luck. I think he's an absolute stud, and he reminds me a ton of Mike Evans, the former wide receiver for Texas A&M. For those of you who don't know, Caleb Odom is a freak of nature. He is huge. He's like 6'6". Big blow for Alabama, and as where it stands right now, Alabama has lost 4 wide receivers in their receiver room. 4. That is now 3 wide receivers, and notable ones at that have entered the transfer portal. Reminder, a few days ago, Kobe Prentice, who was a really good wide receiver, he left. I want to emphasize this to Bama fans. These aren't chumps that are leaving. These are good, and I mean good football players. And I'll show you this chart. I think this is from like the official Alabama page or YouTube channel, something like that. Shout out to them. So you got Prentice, transfer, Law, transfer, Odom, transfer, and Cole Adams. He's hurt. At this point in time, all Bama has left at the wide receiver position is Ryan Williams and Jeremy Bernard. And there's a lot of speculation that Bernard's going to leave because apparently he's not happy either. I don't really know if I believe that one because I know early in the season he wasn't getting a lot of passes thrown his way, but he's came on this later half of the year. He almost has as much receiving yards as Ryan Williams, and he actually has more catches. I don't want to overhype this, but I also don't want to underhype it. It's not looking good for Alabama at the wide receiver position. And trust me when I say this, there will be more Alabama players leaving, and I mean leaving soon. And there's a couple other guys that announced they're entering the portal. I just didn't talk about them because they weren't notable players. We got a lot of videos to make this week. Be on the lookout. Let me know your thoughts down below. But